Hello everybody. Hope you're all doing well. It looks like I need to give my capture device a kick in the capture device, so to speak. There we go. There we are. I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome. Sorry, it's a little disorganized this morning. I am. Oh wow, that's bright. That's because there's some daylight. I am broadcasting during the day because I wanted to have a nice, relaxed stream with this one. This is going to be relatively long, quite possibly. But this is where I'm going to mix 3 songs from Mischwald. And why, camera, are you focusing on the back when I am here? Yeah, I was almost late for this stream. Focus, Daniel Zan. Come on. That's more like it. I was almost late because I've been trying to get myself an absolutely killer bass tone this morning, which is completely aside from the Mischwald stuff. And so I have an Ibanez kind of Music Man-y style bass here with a triple coil pickup, which is ridiculous. And I'll get a camera and I'll show you the setup. But at the same time, let's go to our main screen here. There we go. You will also be able to see this in the middle of the screen here. What is this? That is a little kind of embed of the charity stream Desert Bus for Hope. Twitch.tv/Desert Bus. They are raising money for children's charities. Great people, very funny, and they're doing that for about the next 7 or 8 days, but I thought it was definitely worth hosting them here. You won't be able to hear them. If you want to hear them, go and watch it, twitch.tv/Desert Bus. But yes, I wanted to show you this killer bass tone that I've got and then break it down before we carry on with mixing the Mischwald stuff. So this... that's going to cut through anything. That is absolutely brutal. And I'm going to get the camera phone app out and I'm going to show you how I've done that, because that's almost all in hardware. So, connected. Good. Yes. There we go. So if I press a button, you should see. There we go. So my bass, as we can see here, is plugged firstly into a DI box from Simpleway, DI. That then goes through to the pedal board, and the pedal board does the rest. And this is where it gets a little bit crazy. So it goes into the TC hypergravity compressor, the mini version, which I've just been programming via USB, which is why there's a cable stuck out of it. I can take that out now. It's a multi-band compressor, so I've been setting the low, mid, and high separate from everything. Then, this is where it gets a bit weird, because this goes all the way over the board to the 2 notes, la bass. And why does it go all the way over the board instead of the next pedal? Well, it goes to the la bass, which I've got the tone that I want through Cold Fusion, which is mostly the drive side with a little bit of the clean. That has an effects loop, which in it has the TC Electronics third dimension, which is basically a dimension C, so that when the bass is in a really heavy mix, it just kind of blends a bit better. On its own, it sounds a bit weird as a chorus kind of thing, but in a full mix, it just helps it really kind of sit. But the reason that this board is a little bit backwards, firstly, the XLR out there on the side of the La bass is channel 2, but also there is a through output on here, which means that the clean signal, I say clean, it's got the multi-band compressor on it, goes to these 2 pedals. Only one of them will be on at once. But right now I'm using a Boss Metal Zone, which sounds silly, but blended in with that clean tone and with that slightly gritty tone, that's the real chainsaw top end that you could hear there. And actually, if I switch to the Rev G4, that's even more aggressive and bright. I'll just bring the volume up. So yeah, absolute monster that is. That the metal zone's actually a little bit tame in comparison. But yeah, that is the pedals that I've got for my bass rig, and it's all on pedal board apart from the DI, which, well, that's a DI. So I'm going to turn this off and show you this side of things. So on this side of things, I've got the La bass, which is the crunchy sound. Like I said, this is kind of the bulk of the sound. But that's also got the third dimension on, which if I turn off, I'm now playing with my fingers instead of a pick. Pick's more aggressive. And so there's that. But then also there is the drive, which is really aggressive. So that's only coming in at -18. It doesn't need to be super hot, but it just adds the character. And then the DI is where I've got really clever. A lot of people tend to do this thing where they just shelve out all the detail from the clean DI. And I kind of wanted to do that, but at the same time, I didn't. I also wanted to retain some of the clear, clean top end. And the reason for that is it just adds a bit of clarity back to the top end where there's all the guts coming from the other channels. And so that gives us a sound like this. Which, yeah, of course, scoops out all the mids, which leaves us with a bit of a tingy low end, but also loads of low end, which means that I can have this relatively loud in relation to the others. There is a copy of Retune, which is just as it sounds, literally to keep me in tune. And then there is Waves L2. L1's okay, but I find that L1 just kind of flubs out a little bit, especially on bass. So what L2 is doing is just keeping the low end here in check and keeping it solid. So when I play, watch the attenuation. So it's not doing a huge deal. It's really not steamroller in the whole thing. Hello, David. Good morning. Morning. I know it's really, really early for a lot of our American friends, especially on the West Coast. But this is more of a chill out kind of stream today. So like I said, that's that bass setup. So this super clean and super mid scooped sound goes in with the La bass, which is that really mid-heavy sound. Which actually, I think I'll bring that down by a couple of dB. Can I do that on the interface? Yes, I can. And then the drive is on 2. So I'll bring that down a little as well. And the drive added in means that the whole thing needs a little more drive, I think. There we go. And the La bass and the drive channel are a little bit noisy. I checked all my ground lifts, and that's all we're left with, is that much noise. That's it. But what I've done is I've added a gate, and you'll have seen me do this on heavy guitars before, where I'm actually taking the clean DI pre-effects and sending that out to the trigger of the gate so that none of the distortion is going to trigger the gate open, which means I have a very, very, very clean gate. So I'm touching the bass now, and only just now can you hear it. So when I play, I get quiet, and then I get some real aggression. Anyway, I need to save this and get on so that we can actually do some mixing. Oh, yes. But yeah, that's what I was working on this morning after waking up at 6:30 this morning to look after the overexcitable toddler. There we go. Put the bass down. But yeah, a good bright sounding bass with the right amount of processing. I'm just going to put the rack back under a little bit. There we go, so I don't knock it over while we're working. Is some recipe for a huge bass tone. So yes, save project as studio heavy bass tone. And actually, while I'm at it, I'll show you something else. So if I shift and click all of these, this is a great shortcut for if you found a tone you like and you're going to add it into the next project. My ISO is really bright. I'm just going to knock that down a bit. Hopefully that'll make the autofocus work better. There we go. Yeah, if you want to use this sound again with this exact setup, but without all the audio files in and that kind of thing, and you want to just drop it in different projects, what you can do is go to track and save tracks. So the tracks that I've selected by shift click, and save tracks as template. Now I'm going to call this I'm going to call it bass heavy 3 channel. There we go. Now the reason I recorded a couple of bits here is to check the phase, because what quite often happens with distortion pedals especially is they can flip the phase when you turn them on, which in isolation isn't a problem. But the 2 notes, la bass, flips the phase when it's on and means it's out of phase with the other 2 channels. Now there is a slight time alignment thing here as well, because even though most of this is analog, the hypergravity compressor is digital. So these are coming in slightly later, which is fine. It just means that I'll have to put a little bit of a time adjustment in there, and I might do it as a plugin so that it does it by the samples of latency so that I can hear the difference live. So one thing for me is and this is worth talking about with mixing, I really don't like tracking using things like direct monitoring where it sounds different from when I hit stop and then play it back. I really like when the thing I'm recording sounds exactly like it's going to sound when I play it again. That means that I can essentially mix whilst I'm recording, knowing full well that that's the sound we're going to get. So anyway, now I've done that save track as template, I can close this down and I can open our Mischwald project. Where are you? That one. That's going to take a second to load because it has every plugin ever. Is that side blowing me out? Yeah. The daylight outside. Hello, Focus. I'm over here, Mr. Focus. There we go. Let's see. Well, we've got 13 people watching right now, which, considering that it's like between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. American time, that's pretty good. Yeah, the number of viewers count on YouTube is bizarre at the moment, because if you look at one part of it, it says I have 7 views, and the other part says I have 15 current. Either of which is fine. Oh, it's just taking a while to load all the plugins. Still significantly faster than Slow Tools and Cubase. Come on, autofocus. What are you doing? Am I still too bright for your precious focus system? There we go. Yes, making coffee. Good idea. I've had 1 coffee today, and that was not enough coffee. So, let's have a quick listen to one of the tracks that we had from last week. It's been a week already. It's flown by. And we got as far as reamping all the guitar parts and the bass and getting the drums in. So let's listen to a short one. This one, where it's been. Let's have a listen. Generally sounds good. Why does the snare sound really light? There's something going on in that snare there that's a certain quack. So I'm going to try and find it if I can, if it's in the lower region. Actually, rather than finding the quack and removing it, I'm just going to leave that in because that should give me the low end on that snare now. Let's find out. Okay, so yeah, also the kick sounds a bit light, which I agree. So let's use the brown EQ and just get some bump in the bottom. So to answer David's question, I'm going to probably say this every 20 minutes or so. The extra Twitch stream that's at the bottom here is Desert Bus for Hope. This is from twitch.tv/Desert Bus. This is a charity stream that goes on every year, and I do like to support them. And this is something that I'm just raising awareness for because they help to provide entertainment for children in hospitals through the Child's Play charity. So it's something, they just crashed. Something that's worth me mentioning because there's only so much I can support them monetarily, but by bringing more awareness to it, that's something I can do. So something that I will do. Okay, camera, you are really annoying me now with your lack of focusing. There we go. Bizarro, the camera keeps wanting to focus on the foam at the back. But yeah, let's listen for the booth. There we go. It seems the difference between the black and the brown on the EQ is that the brown does have a bit more aggression to it, which it seems like what I would want here. So let's just pull that in and see if that did the trick. Yes, too much so in fact. So I can bring several dB back off that. There sounds to be a little bit of muffle on the kick, so probably the 300 Hz-ish region. There we go. Let's see if that did the thing. Good morning, Marty, or good afternoon, in fact, because you're ahead of me time-wise. Okay, that kick's now taking over everything, so I'm just going to take a bit of that low end out. There is a master EQ from Better Maker, which is currently not on, which boosts everything around 60 Hz and below. So, there we go. that will be on later, but I've been, especially with the guitars, reamping without that, so it gives me a much more balanced perspective. So let's listen to that now with the 20-something hertz filter in and the low and high Pultec style stuff. Could have sworn that I just added some low end on the snare there. Oh no, I did that in the overhead. Let's add a bit more low end in the actual track. Okay, so it looks like they've gone for a more dynamic approach on the snare on this track, which is great, except there's the odd one that's so quiet. Like that. Hello to everybody in chat. Hello, MJ Symbol. Let's have a look. It looks like a copy-paste job. Because that was in the same place. Yeah. Yes, they have taken a drum part they liked and copied it across, and I can tell that because that same snare hit is light every time. It does mean that I know what to look out for. Okay. Let's bring these up a bit. Okay, that's not how people hit cymbals. I can see what they've gone for there, but firstly, nobody hits cymbals perfectly in time like that, and also, people don't go bow. They that's not how humans do a drum. So let's just do that, because that's much more you go bow and kind of crescendo it off. That sounds much more reasonable. Yes, if you hold down Control in Reaper, you can draw in velocity lines like this. So I can, if I just select everything and go, oh no, Control and draw. That sounds much more realistic. There we go. I can see what they were going for though, so that definitely helps. Lewis Hamilton took the F1 championship. Yes, because of course he did. How could he not? That is what he does after all. Let's make sure that's paused. There's no need to waste bandwidth. Next, files. Let's get the files in. So I've got 3 different lead vocals here. It says lead vocals from Lars and Flo. So let's just see what happens when I drop them all in. Wrong file. And I'm just going to duplicate the lead vocal track, but delete everything that's on it and add this other track that's been designated as lead vocals. And then, it looks like a bit of a trade-off. Okay, that's cool. And yeah, so it's just a change of singer for the middle 8. And there's another one where you chipmunk vocals, which is, yeah, kind of in the background, high stuff. Is everything... Yeah, everything's in 44.1. Why am I in 48k? Give me a second. Let's see if this breaks anything, because I'm running at the wrong sample rate. 44100. See if that breaks things. I mean, it sounds weird, but it shouldn't do because of the way I'm doing it. It'll take a second. That sounds better. That's much better. Yes. Oh yeah, working live is completely different to studio stuff. I can tell you that. I've done a lot more studio stuff than I have live stuff, but my experience of live is that kind of you are given a set of parameters by the band and you essentially have to make it work. With this, you have a lot more power to say, nope, we do things my way because I want what you want. So do this and yeah. So yeah, this is a little bit backwards, dropping tracks in later, but because I had all the guitars that I wanted to reamp, we ended up doing that all stream last week. So yes, let's see how these go. Okay, so looking at the previous tracks, the volume on the vocals was way louder, so I'm going to bring these up. I might have to push the compressors to make these stand out, but let's see. Yeah, this is going to need pushing. So my first port of call will be the output here on this compressor. I'm not even on the right track. What an idiot. Alright, let's mute these other tracks for a second. I really want to slam the compression on here. So I'm already running. Voxformer is in the chain but doesn't have... this doesn't need the crisp by the sound of it. They've used a brighter microphone on these tracks. So I don't need to overly crisp it. But I've got a preamp going. VCC channel at the start. That's fine. Quite a heavy filter, high pass filter, just before my compressors.
Abends oder morgens, du weißt, wie es ist, da zu sitzen, nicht zu wissen, wer du bist, wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein, meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum.
Yeah, you see, I've got nearly 200 hertz filter on here, but it still sounds quite full. It sounds to me like their singer really gets close to the microphone, which proximity effect wise bumps the low end up, which is fine as long as we know and we compensate for it. There we go. Also, being that close to the mic gives me the benefit that if they're in a room that's not perfectly treated, it eliminates a lot of that as a problem. So, swings and roundabouts. I'd rather have that than have them at the correct distance, but causing all sorts of room modes and reflections that you just cannot EQ out.
Abends oder morgens, du weißt, wie es ist, da zu sitzen, nicht zu wissen, wer du bist, wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein, meine Gedanken.
There we go. So I've just brought the threshold up on the SSL compressor. So I'm now actually running the vocal through 3 compressors, which sounds ridiculous, but is actually not unheard of, especially for engineers who work on large format SSL desks. They might run out to something like an 1176 or a distressor, maybe chain it with an LA2A to give a whole different kind of compression. And because there's a compressor on the board, you kind of just push it a little bit anyway to get that extra little bit of fatness out. So now this sounds really thick and fat. Let's hear it in the mix.
Abends oder morgens, du weißt, wie es ist, da zu sitzen, nicht zu wissen, wer du bist, wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein. Meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum, mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum.
See, that's being hit quite hard now. It's also being hit into this tape machine. I've got the Noveltech vocal enhancer running, which I may not need. I'll turn that off because on the previous few tracks, the microphone was a little bit dull sounding, and I wish this camera would stay focused. I might just put it on manual. Hello, that sees my face. There we go, that's better. That'll punch itself back out in a second. He says. Hello, Ivy. Here comes the terror. There we go. Hello. Ivy's just been on a walk, but let's listen to this without this Noveltech vocal enhancer, because it's a cool little thing, but it can be a bit much, which is why I've got it very, very gently.
Ist wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein, meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum, mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum.
There we go. Yeah, it's this vocal enhancer. I hadn't tried it until recently, but I got the Plugin Alliance bundle, and I thought I would try it, and it gives what I would describe as the pop sheen. Oh, hello. Look at her, she's getting big. Oh, well. And yeah, it just gives a top end that isn't the same as what an EQ would do. Off you go. There we go. Thank you. And yeah, it just, for whatever reason, it's hard to explain, but it gives like an oral excitement that just isn't the same as just boosting the top. This is without,
das Gefühl zu haben,
and this is with.
Allein zu sein, meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum, mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum. Alle mich.
And yeah, it does a thing that, especially for this, I like, because I did notice that the microphone, whatever they've used for this, it sounds a little soft, and I wanted a bit more of a poppy feel. And this plugin just kind of does it. And I was just like, right, okay, well, if it does that, yes, please. So then we run into a virtual mix bus, and then good old Waves de-esser at the end, which is simple but effective. Because that vocal enhancer's brought all the top out, it just needs taming a little. So even though it sounds like that would be counterintuitive, the de-esser is only working on a harsh S.
Ist wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein, meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum, mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum, alle mich hier grad anglotzen. Wo bin ich hier, was soll ich hier, warum stehe ich immer wieder.
Perfect. You hear that slight distortion on the vocal. That sounds like it might be undesirable, but it's probably not. That's why I've got the saturation going on the New York here. That's why... I've not actually got the transformer going there, but I have got Vox Former giving me a bit of character on these. Like, the bright and the crisp presence and saturation, and then the SSL console does its own thing with a little bit of distortion as well. So between them, that gives what sounds like too much, but in context.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm. Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf.
Okay, something that I can already hear I'm going to have to do here is that line gets ahead of itself. So that's I can see that the attack up here should probably be more like there. So if I split it and move it, let's see how that sounds.
Soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Right, wrong button, that's D and I want S. This whole thing, I can hear that it sounds to me like it's been tracked with an interface that gives quite a lot of latency, because what you do subconsciously is you rush, you get ahead of the beat. It's no one's fault, it just happens when you're trying to deal with between 20 and 30 milliseconds of latency. You think your mind can deal with it, and it kind of can, but you compensate by getting in there early. So
Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
there we go. All I did there was push the whole thing back by just a few milliseconds. It looks like the start is in time. Whether the guys have been in and pushed the timing on that themselves, I don't know, but it looks like the verses are closer. And then I'm just going to cut these, and just without even listening, I can see that the chorus this is the second chorus, is just a little bit early. Let's look at the timing on the bridge.
Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Now, that could be considered on time, but I'm going to push it back anyway because the laid back feel feels good on a kind of a disco beat. But
Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen. Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich?
okay, so they can go back.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum?
No, there.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Cool. Yeah, 30 milliseconds is 30 feet. Yes, very much so. Which, again, in live sound, that is what it is. I mean, that you deal with it in different ways because you've got a set of parameters to deal with, whereas in the studio, you kind of expected by the artist to be able to give them exactly what they want within about 2 milliseconds, without exaggeration. And it's just a different playing field, really. There are a lot of transferable skills, but yeah, I don't know. It's just different. So next thing I'm going to do is look at this, what I call the alternative vocals track. Yeah, so I'm going to push the volume on this.
Wieder das Gefühl zu haben, Allein zu sein, meine Gedanken rennen durch den Raum. Mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum. Wie alle mich hier gerade anglotzen. Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier?
There we go. You can really hear the distortion on that, but once I blend that in underneath the other one.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf.
And then press play in the mix.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an.
There we go. I do remember from previous feedback that the band didn't want too much of that vocal. In general, the second vocal, but what I'll do here, I think I will lean on the second vocal a little as a feature during the choruses. So let's just see how far I can push it before it sounds like actual two voices.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Cool. It sounds to me like the lead vocal is a little bit loud. And I'm going to use this as an opportunity to do a mix balance. There's two more vocals to get in, but they will be a balancing act. It just sounds like the rhythm guitars in this song could come up a bit. So I'm just going to look at them now. Right, so that's very aggressive low end wise, so I'm just gonna take a little away. There we go. It looks like the low end boost there sounded nice, but in practice, when I'm trying to fit it in, it's probably not. So I'm going to mute rhythm guitar 1 and just get the level right for guitar 2 here. Okay. That might need the aggressive gating at some point. Because that is not nice. But just... But yeah, above that I can fit that Marshall-esque guitar in. Let's just see how this fits before I automate the volume here.
Abends oder morgens, du weißt, wie es ist, da zu sitzen, nicht zu wissen, wer du bist, wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein.
Oh, it sounds good on the car mode in VSX.
Warum muss ich dauernd woanders sein? erzählt und laut gelacht. Bin ich aufgewacht. Nein, wo sind sie hin? Wo ist...
Yeah, snare still sounds a little papery. Let's just gate it a little bit and then compress it a bit more, give it a bit more low end and a bit more whack. What's the car mode? Right, so this is, I'm using the Slate VSX headphones. You can't hear this. This is after what gets sent to you, because it would sound really weird otherwise. But this actually puts me in a virtual room. Because mixing on headphones isn't ideal, but right now I'm supposed to be having a week off. I'm actually at home in the office, streaming from home. And yeah, being able to do this is so good. Right, let's see how that sounds in context.
Bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier bauen? Steh ich immer wieder. Komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Right, so what's happening is things are getting distorted in a bad way. Looks like it's not being distorted in the SSL console, it's being distorted at this point. Right, so I don't want to press the fader up by like plus 8 dB or whatever it is, but might be what it takes. Let's try the close.
Komm, lass uns gehen. Warum muss ich dauernd woanders sein? Bin unter Leuten doch. Und laut.
That hi-hat is still too loud as well. So I'm going to do what anybody would do, which is make the hi-hat less hi-hatty.
Immer wieder neben mir. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser.
I think I'm enjoying my time off. I've not had much of it yet. I was still working on Friday, and then I did a lot of editing for Two Notes stuff last night. So, yeah, time off is a subjective thing. But yeah, this is good. So yeah, that might sound really silly with me turning down the hi-hats, but it is something you can kind of do in real life just by switching out hi-hats for lighter ones. And actually, I just did that in the studio. I just bought a set of Peisty light hi-hats, which are really good for substituting in when you've got a drummer who really hits the hats, but you don't want that to dominate the rest of the sound. Because I, for one, am not the world's best drummer, and I don't quite have the velocity control that some do. So rather than struggle with it in a mix, I thought, right, go about it the other way.
Bin ich hier, was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen. Warum muss ich dauernd woanders sein? Bin unter Leuten noch nicht dabei. Es wird erzählt und laut gelacht. Bin ich aufgewacht? Nein, wo sind sie hin? Wo ist das Licht? Abwesenheit versperrt die Sicht. Warum?
Okay, this is sounding okay. So I'm going to split these, get rid of these blank hissy bits by the look of it, and now let's have a listen to the other lead vocal.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen.
Right, so this one needs a good push to get the volume up.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment für sich richtig. Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier?
Right, so this one definitely needs a bit of tuning work, which is fine, but it also needs a bit of a different EQ.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment für sich.
This has a distinct System of a Down-esque duet type vibe. Okay, so for the benefit of Danny, this is the... I said I was going to have to explain this every half hour, and that's fine. So this window down the bottom, that is Desert Bus. That is streaming there by my hand. I have put that there on purpose. They are currently streaming for the next 7 to 10 days, playing the world's terriblest game, and raising money for Child's Play charity. So I am raising a little bit of awareness for them after you've watched this stream. If you want to head over to twitch.tv/desertbus, they are entertaining people all day long and raising money. So yes, they are people whose content I watch on a regular basis when I'm not streaming myself.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wie?
Let's add a bit of the snare reverb here and see if that gives me just a different enough profile on this vocal to really make them sound distinct.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fürs...
Okay, so at this point, I will call in the Melodyne. That one, with it being VST3 and having ARA, it will automatically move itself to the start of... Oh, what's this? There's an update available. Okay, so I'll download that, but I'm not going to install it midstream because that would be absolute craziness from me. You know what? I'm a little bit crazy. So what I'm going to do, is anything else up on this screen? No. I am going to do that because I'm mental. There's Melodyne 5.1 has been released. So I'm going to do that. let's just... There's nothing on there right now, so I'm just going to delete Melodyne off there. Hit save. Hit close. And then... Oh yeah, that's a thing. Extract to... downloads. Yep, there we go. Yeah, you know, a lot of people are like afraid of, you know, updating ever because it might break the system. I'm the opposite. I'm just like, you know what? I'll update in the middle of a stream, YOLO. So, yes. There we go. That updated. So let's open Reaper again. And this is where I am so much more confident in Reaper than I would be with any other DAW. And then the PC went poof. Yes. Yes, it would. Except it isn't. Because good software is good. Yes. I used to have some terrible stability problems with older versions of Melodyne, but they really seem to have ironed those out now. And in recent years, the guys who make Reaper have been working specifically on Melodyne compatibility for the whole ARA thing. And so, yeah, the whole kind of attitude on that is quite different now. Loading complete. There we go. So we're back and let's go to lead vocals 2. I had Melodyne 5.1 in there. And see if that broke anything. Yeah, working. There you go. Monophonic detection. It takes a little longer to detect stuff in Melodyne 5 than it did in Melodyne 4, but I believe it's a more complex algorithm because it can now pick up on sibilants separately. It can now detect usually things like heavier vocals in the right octave. So I'm going to go for pitch center 100%, pitch drift. I never go to 100% on pitch drift because that sounds robotic. And then, oh, that's going to repeat. We don't want that. Where's my transport? Huh. View transport. That's weird. I usually have the transport knocking around, but yeah, let's take off R for repeat. We don't want that. But yeah, I actually don't use the transport very often, so I suppose this is fine. Let's go to Zoom and...
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich? Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steht hier? Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steht...
That one's needs a bit of correction.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig wieder neben da. Ich wieder neben dir.
Oh, uh-oh. Undo.
Neben mir. Neben mir. Neben mir. Wieder neben mir. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen.
That sounds significantly more aggressive.
Wieder neben mir. Ständig wieder neben mir. Wieder neben mir. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, sag wieder neben mir. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib. Komm, ständig sagt wieder neben mir. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, wieder neben mir. Wieder neben mir. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Bleib nicht wieder neben mir. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen.
Was this whole thing supposed to be a semitone down? Let's try that.
Wieder neben mir. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen.
Yes, okay.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben dir? Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein wieder neben mir, wieder neben mir, wieder neben mir. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen.
Well, thank you for the compliment, Pazman, but honestly, this is just years and years of doing it. And I, at one point in my career, would have spent hours doing this, but now I'm honing in on, is this in key? What scale is that going to be? Is it major or minor? And then kind of educated guessing where it's supposed to be from there. So if this is exactly the same.
Messer mittendrin, starten oder bei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Messer mittendrin, starten oder bei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Wo bin ich hier?
Lass uns gehen.
Right, it sounds like this one goes on a little too long. But that's just a fade.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich?
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Messer mittendrin, starten oder bei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib.
Okay, timing was off on that double there.
Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm.
It sounds like something far more rude in English, but it's something to do with the head. Kopf. There we go. Mein Kopf. My head.
Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm. Sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, starten oder bei der. Sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, starten oder bei der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig.
Okay, and so I'm going to use the automation here to pull that double up in volume and sneeze. Excuse me. Because just pushing it up only on the choruses will give a bit more energy. Yeah, there we go.
Abends oder morgens, du weißt, wie es ist, da zu sitzen, nicht zu wissen, wer du bist. Wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein. Meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum. Mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum.
There we go. Yeah, so those, as they call them, the chipmunk vocals. Why don't they have any processing on them? Was this track previously frozen? No, I'm just going to use the SSL on here just to really get some volume out of these by using the compression.
Allein zu sein.
More compression, more volume.
Allein zu sein. Allein zu sein.
And this should be a 2-channel compressor, not 4.
Allein zu sein. Allein zu sein.
There we go. Get all the low end out of there. Really push it.
Allein zu sein. Allein zu sein.
Faster releasing that, much faster.
Allein zu sein. Allein zu sein.
There we go. That's really starting to bring it to the front now.
Mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum.
Let's listen to that with the other vocals.
Allein zu sein, meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum. Mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum. Alle mich hier grad.
There we go. That's nice. And I'm just going to add some more of that extra snare reverb onto the extra vocal just to make it pop.
Allein zu sein, meine Gedanken.
Not that much.
Allein zu sein, meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum. Mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum. Alle mich hier grad anglotzen. Zählt und laut gelacht, bin ich aufgewacht. Nein, wo
Right, well, now I've taken all the low end out of these chipmunk vocals. They sound a bit boxy. So let's find that frequency.
aufgewacht. Aufgewacht.
Higher.
Aufgewacht.
There. Just take a little bit of that out. Not tons. Just.
Aufgewacht.
Might need to be broader.
Aufgewacht.
No, it's a little higher, I think.
Aufgewacht. Aufgewacht.
There it is, that 1K thing.
Aufgewacht.
There we go, because that takes it out of the space of the main vocal.
Ich aufgewacht. Nein.
Which also means that I should be able to push the whole thing up in volume just a bit. Which I will use a couple of envelope points to do. Come on, there we go. Because doing it with an envelope means that the other songs won't be affected.
Ich aufgewacht. Nein, wo sind ich aufgewacht? Nein, wo sind sie hin? Wo ist das Licht? Abwesenheit versperrt die Sicht. Warum kann ich's nicht genießen? Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment für sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
I think I could bring out a little bit more aggression in these guitars without making it overbearing. Might be pushing it though, let's see.
Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig.
And the same with these. Again, I don't want to go overboard, and there is a bit of a boxiness in here I might want to wring out. could I adjust the volume of the item instead of automating? No, not really, because if I adjust the volume of an item, that affects it before it goes into any of the effects, which can be great if you've not got anything like compression going on at all. But otherwise, if you automate the volume of items, that will affect how the compressor is hit and will not give you the result that you thought you were going for. Generally, I mean, that's why if you look at some of my workings, you can see how on the vocals, for example, I know it's grayed out. Let's just clear that so you can see. Above the vocals here, it says like plus 7.28 dB. That's because I have done that with these vocals. They came in quiet, so I've lifted the volume of those. But that means to me that hits the compressor harder. Anything that I do after that point is then kind of the fader here that you see is what comes after everything in this strip. So by automating that, I can have the vocals or compressed or whatever it is that I want in such a way that I like it, and then ride the volumes of the resulting sound rather than playing with fire and kind of changing how compressors are hit, especially because the way that I like to mix, I do use quite a bit of heavy compression. I have to make sure the levels hit the compressor in the right way so that the wrong things don't happen, because over compression leads to a squishy, horrible, lifeless sound, and under compression leaves so much dynamic range in a certain track that it kind of comes and goes in the mix, which can be worse than anything. So let's have another listen through this song from the top and see if there's anything now that could do with being changed, because I think, actually, yeah, I'll just quickly listen to a section with the two guitars together now. Yeah. Let's just, again, use automation to push this little bit up by a good few dB. Right, brilliant. So that up to the verse is kind of the feature, and it then becomes too loud. But because there's a nice big kind of fade out on the ring there, I can ride that with the automation to really sit this back in the mix for the verse. I'm just going to add an extra automation point at the end there. And then make sure this is done the right thing. This is what I call the Andy Wallace segment. He's the absolute master. Goodbye. He's the absolute master of automation. He will get each element of a mix sounding how he likes it, not particularly caring if it all balances. Of course it will balance, that is a fundamental, but it's not the be all and end all, because what he will do then is spend a lot of time and attention with his SSL desk pushing faders at the right time, pulling faders at the right time so that elements stand out, then sit back. It gives space in the mix for things to be important without taking away from anything or catching the ear wrong as an EQ changes or that kind of thing. So let's see how this goes.
Abends oder morgens, du weißt, wie es ist, da zu sitzen, nicht zu wissen, wer du bist. Wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein. Meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum. Mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum. Wie alle mich hier gerade Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum. Ihr merkt es kaum. Wie alle mich hier gerade anglotzen. Wo bin ich hier?
Okay, so that needs to come up at that point.
Bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser.
Yes, Major Prometheus, you understand it, I think. Yeah. So you get it balanced, then unbalance it in an artistic way. That's a very good way of putting it. I like that. I like that a lot. But yeah, at that point, it's like making sure that everybody is on stage, everybody knows their lines, everybody is wearing the right costume. But then it's about making people stand back while the lead of a particular part in the scene stands to the front and speaks up. It's the moving parts then.
Bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Warum muss ich dauernd woanders sein? Bin unter Leuten doch nicht dabei. Es wird erzählt. Bin unter Leuten doch nicht dabei. Es wird erzählt und laut gelacht. Bin ich aufgewacht? Nein, wo sind sie hin? Wo ist das Licht? Abwesenheit versperrt die Sicht. Warum kann ich's nicht genießen? Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen.
Oops. That extra point at the end is causing trouble, so that can go. I can always add one in. So a relatively new thing that Reaper does, if you see all these blue lines that are appearing across the screen as I do automation, they're helping me to move faster. So you see the horizontal blue line means that I can grab a new point of automation and I can see when it lines up with the previous section. So without having to guess or look at numbers, I can look at that visually and go, okay, that's the volume that we were at in the previous chorus. Let's just match that line. Really useful.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier?
Wo bin ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin.
Right, what I'm going to do here is that juk 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 is kind of cool, but I'm purposefully dropping it down. And then I'm going to bring it up for the second part of the bridge. That way we've got somewhere to go. I'll probably do something similar with the other guitar as well, but... See how that's left some space in the mix. And here we're going to add energy. We're going...
Bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier?
Right, so I'm going to use this hang here and I'm going to automate up even further. I'm going to go crazy so that there's a bow, bow.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder?
And then make sure we're back at normal levels here so that it doesn't just overtake everything. And it looks like, I'm going to hit save again, we really need to clean these and edit this so that it goes bam, bam, silence, bam, bam, silence. Because if it's not trimmed, it's going to sound messy as you like. And so I'm going to do that on the other guitar as well. That way, yeah, it's going to be a much cleaner bang, 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 bang.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder im...
That hits you. There we go. And suddenly that's gone from ba ba to ba ba. And without me having to really do much. So let's just check. Right, so there's a second set of these. I'm going to turn the mixer off for a second while I do this. But yeah, you can see all the automation lanes down there. That's a sign of how much automation I end up doing just to play around and balance things. The yellow one's a pan for when I've got like a mono lead part and then it becomes a stereo lead part. The red ones are generally sends to things like delays and when I want them and when I don't want them. Let's just have a look at this lead guitar.
Bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum stehe ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib hin. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment für sich richtig.
Oh, understanding EQ and compression. Thank you, Marty. That is our latest course. That is, if you want to learn a lot of this stuff double quick time, that is something I would highly recommend that you do. Is check the course out. Right, at this point I'm going to add more automation. I'm clicking P for pan because all three of those vocals are right in the center and it's a little bit congested. And the reason I'm automating it is that I want this vocal to be in the middle most of the time. And I want this vocal to be in the middle most of the time. But for this particular section, I just want that one to be all the way out on the left and that one to be all the way out on the right. And the extra vocal should then do the rest. So let's hear this together.
Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment für sich richtig, ja.
Okay. So hopefully that doesn't now stick out too much on that side, but I might have to automate volume. We'll see.
Mir, ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment für sich richtig an und frei.
Okay, so the idea is there, the panning is actually too much, I think, that it's not giving us that thick effect. So let's go for 30-something% and try that. Because then we've got our stereo spread, but they're not completely separate. That's got that. Okay. Now we did all the automation of... we didn't quite finish the automation on this guitar. So this needs to go up for the bang bang. It's already pretty loud, but that's fine. It's just for little incidental parts.
Ständig sagt mein Kopf neben mir, ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mitgehen. Komm, lass uns gehen. Gehen.
That's a nice little one to pull out as a feature there. Bow. It's funny, all this automation I'm doing, go back and listen to some modern rock mixes. You'll hear this all over it if you listen for it. You'll actually listen, you'll lock onto a guitar and go, that was louder a second ago. But if you're not listening for it, it becomes a whole art piece.
Geht!
Right, I think I will fade this guitar out from there so that we hear that definite because it's pretty cool kind of thing. That just it's a real rock and roll ending. And make sure we don't get all the hiss afterwards, because that, as much as that is technically rock and roll, it doesn't feel professional. It's a weird thing. Yeah, there we go. So I might need to do a little automation on guitar too, but probably not as much. But let's listen from the top now. Yeah, that's way too loud, which is fine.
Abends oder morgens, du weißt, wie es ist, da zu sitzen, nicht zu wissen, wer du bist, wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein. Meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum, mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum, wie alle mich hier gerade anglotzen. Oh, wo bin ich?
Right, so that needs to be there. This one becomes the star of the show for a split second. So okay. Just had a message from Pascal. I don't have any backing. Oh no, I do have 2 backing vocals for this track. Okay. So I'll drop them in at the end, but I'm almost there. So I'll carry on with this and then I'll drop the backing vocals in. And another little trick I did there is I didn't go bada 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 cut. I kept the one hit there louder than everything. So that's where the volume should be, I think, because it doesn't catch your ear as much if you don't automate, if you automate after the beat. Hello, Ryan. Moonlands in chat. Good to see you. Yeah, snare's sounding big, and there's no extra samples or anything on it. It's just that the room sounds like this. And then the snare track is a bit loud. One may say unreasonably loud, but it works in context because it's being gain staged later.
woanders sein.
Just gonna hide the mixer again because it's making me go cross-eyed. Automation lane, down you go. Where was I at before? There.
Warum muss ich dauernd woanders sein? Bin unter Leuten noch nicht dabei. Es wird erzählt und laut gelacht. Bin ich aufgewacht? Nein, wo sind sie hin? Wo ist das Licht? Abwesenheit versperrt die Sicht. Warum kann ich's nicht genießen? Oh, oh.
Hi, why? HY, hello, everybody in chat. Welcome. So that should be up around that, and that might be fine at 0 dB because there's nothing else going on in the track. We might not need to boost it above that.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich? Steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, wo bin ich?
Yeah, I'll bring this down just by a couple of dB. It's already almost there, but just a bit.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein
Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with these two guitars. So that's going to be 0. That's going to be a little over, I think. Let's try it.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Ständig sagt mein Kopf.
Okay, I'm going to do the same here, just a couple of dB, just so that the two guitars are together.
Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen. Komm, lass uns. Komm, lass uns gehen.
Save. Okay, that repeats twice, so I'm gonna really crank the hell out of it on the second of that guitar on the second time round to really, and then just back down to normal sane levels, I think, just to really give it an extra kick. Yeah. That's the power of the Andy Wallace mix. So yeah, I don't. It's weird. I'm kind of against automation, but I'm not. I would much rather make the mix do 90% of the work and then me do the last 10, because then yeah, I'm in control at that point, and I'm not having to spend 2 days automating every little syllable of a vocal, but I can work in sections. Much rather work like that. Now, where are we? Backing vocals. So let's see if these snap in. Separate tracks, yes, please. Oh, just there. Go on, up you go. There we go. Split. For those of you who weren't around for the podcast this week as well, I have a new thing which I will be using, which is a Raspberry Pi 400. The new Raspberry Pi in a keyboard. It's all plugged in right now. But yeah, I'll be playing around with that and trying to do some mixing specifically on a Raspberry Pi at some point, just for the fun of it. It is technically possible, although there aren't really any third-party plugins that I would regularly use that are available right now, but I keep begging and asking developers to try it, and eventually we might get somewhere because, you know, Raspberry Pis are cool, and they're technically built on the same architecture as the new Apple Silicon. So let's see how these sound. There we go. Don't want those to be too loud because they'll take up all the vocal space.
Sag mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen. Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich?
Right. Those two stabs there feel like they could come up.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt.
Yeah. So the reason really that I'm keeping this part of the vocal down and raising these up is that this whoa goes against the grain of the main vocal, so I don't want them to fight, and they don't need to be pushed too loud because the rhythm is off. Your ear picks them up naturally. They don't need a ton of level, whereas these that match the main vocal really need to be pushed to fit underneath and not get lost. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do at this point is play this all back, then take a quick 5-minute break to get fresh coffee and do what we all do on breaks and get a fresh battery for my mouse, because if you've noticed I keep slipping and clicking on the wrong things, I think it's because my mouse battery is dying and causing me to double click on things when I don't want to. So yes, I know you shouldn't blame your tools and all that, but this is a known issue that happens. So yes, hopefully that will fix it and it's not just me. We'll see. But yeah, let's play this back and then go for a break. Oh.
Tank ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum, wie alle mich hier grad anglotzen. Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, statt nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen. Warum muss ich dauernd woanders sein? Bin unter Leuten doch nicht dabei. Es wird erzählt und laut gelacht. Bin ich aufgewacht? Nein, wo sind sie hin? Wo ist das Licht? Abwesenheit versperrt die Sicht. Warum kann ich's nicht genießen? Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm.
Hold up. There's a thing that I want to do here. That guitar's really loud in that breakdown, which is great, but I want the choruses to come in with a psh. So, oh yes, everyone, become a patron on Patreon. That would be brilliant. But yeah, one thing I've not done that I know that the great Mr. Wallace does is I am going to put an automation on the cymbal, what I call my far group. So here I've done a close group and a far group. Close mics on the kit and then overheads and room mics and such. So close and far. And the far mics, I'm going to give them a generous bump, probably a good few dB, just before that psh, just so that it doesn't come in as bum, dum, bum. It comes in as psh, dum, bum. And then I get control of a big exciting crash. Let's try that. Yeah, I like that, but it's going a little too slow. Yep, so that and one over here too. So we've got one on the first chorus. Don't know if I need one on the third chorus.
Bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder hin?
This whole thing needs a push.
Mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin.
Right, so this is going to be mega loud. And is going to fade away. I can see those crashes. Which if I had waves instead of MIDI here, I would still be able to see them. So there we go. Bring that down to normal. Oh no. There. Back to normal. You. There we go. So yeah, I'm really smashing the drum overheads for this. Tick, 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 bash, bash. Okay, that's too much. Okay, so for Ryan and anyone else who's come in that's new to the stream, in the top left is Desert Bus for Hope. It's a charity stream that I am tangentially involved with every year at this point. And they raise a lot of money over a 10-ish day period by playing the worst game in the world, Desert Bus. And they raise a lot of money for Child's Play charity who help kids in hospitals to not be depressed, basically. And it's a very cool thing and a noble charity to boot. Right, so that was at minus 0.4 most of the time, so I'm going to go with minus 1 because that's the closest by a fraction of a decibel.
Bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen.
Right, so again, this needs to go bang right there and then just fade away there.
Komm, lass uns gehen.
Right, that needs to be cymbal grabs as well. Are they different somehow? Off velocity? Is that how they're doing? There's some way in here that they're manually doing a psh, psh, psh. It might be aftertouch. Let's find it. Oh, that's okay. So there's. So why does this one choke and this one doesn't? Let's just move it to a different crash. I know. Let's change the view. Oh no, so it's not that. Or is it? Oh, nope, don't want to add one. Huh, strange. Let's look at the event list. Oh, so there's no like aftertouch in there. Oh, there we go. That's got it.
Komm, lass uns gehen.
That sounds like it. That sounds like it should be hit harder. Really? Oh no. Yeah, the double clicking thing. I'll need to find another battery. Jig jig jigga. Let's see. There's one of these guitars is going jig jig jigga. And it's not you. Jig jig jigga dun. So there. I'm just going to automate this guitar up just for a little feature. The smallest thing. Yeah, some kits do have a hold function on cymbals, and sometimes it's using a specific MIDI note off notation. Sometimes it's using polyphonic aftertouch. That's why I checked and went into the view event list, because if there's any like cymbal grabs or anything, it records and lists in here as polyphonic aftertouch, which is really cool because it means you can get up to 127 different velocities of choke. So it can actually measure whether you gently grab a cymbal or whether you really kind of stop it in its tracks, which is really cool, except for when you don't want it or you want it to be a different length and it doesn't appear on any MIDI editor anywhere. But the fact that I can see literally every note of the drums here in order and how long they are and that kind of thing. Very, very cool. Because that means that I can edit it. But it turns out that wasn't the case. It's just that sometimes Superior Drummer is a little bit strange with its cymbal grabs that are not using that method, which is like this one. There's a mute hit. Yeah. Which, depending on how you... What's the word? Oh, why has this got different pitch on it? Anyway, let's unprocess that and turn that off. Okay, apparently it's nicer higher up. Fine, cool, great. But yeah, you can also have a specific key that is for each symbol of how to stop that particular. Like that. Which is arguably less realistic sounding, but is also more immediate if you're actually playing an E-drum kit. So, yeah, there's ways and means. Now, let's listen through it with the automation on the drums.
Abends oder morgens, du weißt, wie es ist, da zu sitzen, nicht zu wissen, wer du bist. Wieder das Gefühl zu haben, allein zu sein. Meine Gedanken, sie rennen durch den Raum. Mein Blick ist leer, ihr merkt es kaum. Wie alle mich hier grad anglotzen. Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, starten nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen. Warum muss ich dauernd woanders sein? Bin unter Leuten noch nicht dabei. Es wird erzählt und laut gelacht. Bin ich aufgewacht? Nein, wo sind sie hin? Wo ist das Licht? Abwesenheit versperrt die Sicht. Warum kann ich's nicht genießen? Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, starten nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, stand nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Wo bin ich hier? Was soll ich hier? Warum steh ich immer wieder neben mir? Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, bleib nicht stehen. Besser mittendrin, starten nur dabei. Der Moment fühlt sich richtig an und frei. Ständig sagt mein Kopf, komm, lass uns gehen.
Yes. That sounds fantastic. I'm very happy with that one. Maybe it's because I got up early and had my coffee. So we're going to leave it there for a minute. I'm going to take a quick break. Everybody get up, have a shake, go and get some coffee. Do whatever it is you want to do at whatever time of day it is for you. And I'll see you in 5 minutes. I'm going to put the browser window on so you can see Desert Bus for Hope on top of the break screen. And I'll see you in 5. Okay, hello everybody. I return in a shirt so I'm not cold and some socks because I wasn't wearing any socks. Not that you needed to know that, but hey, here I am. And I went for coffee and ended up instead coming back with a steaming hot cup of what's called pei pa koa, which is kind of a Chinese herbal medicine drink. It's very, very tasty and it's got honey in it. And it helps the voice because I've been a bit itchy throated recently. And so this will certainly help. Whilst I wait for my brew to go a little cooler because that will burn me, I'm going to export this. So file and export. Just the time selection. For oh no! Accidentally caught the button there. Mix one. So we're going to do an MP3 and a 24-bit wave. This is new for anyone who's not used Reaper in a little while, and it means I can get an MP3 version and a wave at the same time. Let's watch the wave form approach. And yeah, that is pretty loud. I'm using Brainworks Master Desk as the final output. Depending on how this all goes, I might do a separate mastering session. Doesn't sound like it really kind of needs it, but it might be worth a good kind of double check. In which case I will... okay. In which case, I will take off BX Master Desk so that I'm getting levels that don't clip, and then I've got something to work with to do a master project. Looks like, I mean, at certain sections of these songs, it's not anywhere near the top anyway, so it looks like I've not added too much volume. And it looks like it's hitting the limiter because that's kind of the right thing to do. But at the same time, you know, it's working right. It's weird how it keeps saying that my streaming bitrate's about 7 megabit, despite the fact that I've told it the maximum it can use is 5. But that's OBS being weird for you. Just breathing in this stuff's nice. It smells like Hall Soothers. There's a tiny little bit of menthol in there, but not nearly as much as there is in Western medicinal stuff. It's made with loquat and other weird medicinal herb stuff. Steaming my glasses up. Let's have a look how many people we've had viewing. So we've had a good viewership. This is good. Looks like a lot of people have disappeared off to go and get themselves a coffee. Right, so Voic Bin is in the bag. Now let's look at what do we not have for the Reaper. So it's all vocals that have to go in, I think, for this one, and that's cool as well. So okay, so this one's got a good solid foundation of a sound, I think. So we're going to go and add in all the vocals. Make sure snap is on so that we snap them to the right place. And start with, because on my other screen I can see the folder, you see. And he says, switching away from it. Lead vocals for verse and chorus. Right. Pro tip, don't do that. Separate tracks. Because you know what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to consolidate them. Sometimes what I have to do is make myself a second kind of child track There we go. Also, I'm going to automate stripping silence out here. Actions. Auto trim, remove silence, process, boom.
I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but it looks like if I must, we all go down, 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 just not together. Your suits and ties may be my leather.
That's not right. That should be there, which explains why the timing is off. So I'm going to trim just one of these. And then grab all of these parts and zoom in and then just make sure they snap to there. Come on, everybody. Just move there. There we go. That should now sound like it's in time. That's the idea anyway.
The ties that bind us are easy to dispose.
No, something's a little strange.
The ties that bind us. The ties that. The ties.
1, 2, 3.
The ties that bind us are easy.
Something's gone a little wrong with the intro timing, but I can pull this back. There we go. I'm just looking at a sibilant over here and using that as my timing. Yeah, okay. Off-topic question from Danny. I've mentioned before that over 24-bit wave is not necessary. The reason is that a 24-bit file has a dynamic range of roughly, I think it was 130 decibels from the maximum down to the noise floor. That is more than any audio interface right now that has been designed is capable of. Which means that as a storage format, that can perfectly store what your preamps and converters can do. Anything beyond that, in terms of a file, the only way to make the file have more bits is to add what's called padding. And so either you're adding zeros above the actual maximum that your converters could do, which is pointless because your converters can't do it anyway, or you're adding zeros underneath, which is in the noise floor, which is just showing off how small, how small your detail can be, and how people then go on to believe, oh, 32-bit is better. Well, 32-bit floating processing is arguably better, because when you've got your file and then you're changing the volumes and processing it with plugins and that kind of thing, that gives you lots of headroom. That gives you purity of maths that doesn't leave, leftover numbers. Because if you ever remember the thing from school where you're doing long multiplication and or long division and you've got a remainder of 1, remainders are a bad thing when you're doing maths in audio, which is why floating point actually has a decimal place that goes on for essentially forever, which means that the level of detail there is fantastic. But you don't need your files to be in 32-bit floating point for the engine to mix in 32-bit floating point. And actually Reaper uses 64-bit floating point, which means that the maths is ultra precise. And so it's like, if I got a sheet of paper and I decided to do long multiplication or division, and let's say that on the paper I decided, right, well, I'm going to go to 1,000 decimal places. Great. But I could still just put a small, short, regular integer number in there, and that would still work perfectly well. That's how this is working with audio files. If you want to store your audio in higher than 24-bit, you can, but it won't do anything. It won't improve the sound. It won't give you more dynamic range. It can't. It cannot do that. And from what one of our friends, the Bommel, was saying on the podcast was that, like, have you seen these Zoom field recorders that can record in 32-bit floating point? It's like, yeah, but why? They're bigger files space-wise, and they provide no measurable benefit. They can't. They cannot. So, yeah. That's why. I mean, if there was an appreciable benefit to it, I'd jump on it. As you have seen from all these mixes and all these processes that I do, I am chasing the best that I can have. And I know full well that my computer's quite capable of running a 32-bit floating point audio file. So why wouldn't I? And the reasons are as previously described. Anyway, back to this. So what I've done here is I now have someone's crashed the bus again. Oh, dear. Yeah, so people crash the bus quite a lot this year on Desert Bus because with it all being done at home, everybody is essentially playing Desert Bus, the game, remotely through cloud connection software, and they're actually passing off control between them, and if they mess up, well, they crash. So, there you go. You've been forced to move to Pro Tools. Well, that sucks, but nobody's forcing you to do anything. If you're having to use Pro Tools because of a client or because of a company you work for, crack on. You know, I use Pro Tools sometimes, and as much as I'm not a fan of it, being proficient in it is still a skill that is useful in the industry. So don't worry about it. Learn all you can from it. See if there's anything new in Pro Tools that either isn't in Reaper or that you wouldn't have thought to use in Reaper. Find things that enlighten you. Find things about it that make the experience worth learning. Because there's always something that's worth taking away from whatever it is that you're doing. Now, back again, I'm getting distracted a lot. These vocals look like they don't overlap, so I might just... Oh, they tiny overlap there. So what I'm going to do is leave them on separate lanes. But what I'm doing is I've made an extra track here and bumped it up using this blue line underneath the other lead vocal. So it's now a child track, which means it sends all its own audio up into this channel, so I can actually have more than one layer using the same processing. Kind of like a group, but slightly cleaner and more, more of a pretty, elegant solution.
The ties that bind us are easy to dispose. Statues we build erode as long as water flows. This whole crazy place will one day turn to dust. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but it looks like if I must, we all go down, 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 just not together.
Right, I think I've got the timing right there, but these are all like the previous track quite quiet, so I'm just going to hold down Shift and bump these up using the top bar here by 7.5%, 7.5 dB, not percent. Oh, what am I saying? You can do similar things in Pro Tools with clip gain.
The ties that bind us are easy to dispose. Statues we build erode as long as water flows.
There we go. And that does sound louder, but not 7 dB louder. What's happening is that's hitting the compressor chain that I have in a way that makes it sound much smoother.
The ties that bind us are easy to dispose. Statues we build erode as long as water flows. This whole crazy place will one day
Sorry, I'm doing that thing that I do when I've got a kind of a twitch going. I do apologise. But yeah, this one doesn't need a pan. I must have accidentally hit the P button. But let's look in the folder. There are more. There is lead, chorus, and verse 2. So these need to go in a similar place on the alternative track. Separate tracks. And these again are in the wrong place, but that's fine. I'll strip the silence out here, dig, and just line them up by I. And just hope that I've got the timing right on these for now.
The ties that bind us are easy to...
Now, these ones not being the main vocal, I will just bunch these up onto another track. If there's a slight overlap, it's not as important because being a backing vocal, they're kind of going to be buried underneath in the mix a little anyway.
The ties that bind us are easy to dispose. Statues we build erode as long as water flows. This whole crazy place will one day turn to dust. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but it looks like if I must, we all go down, 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 just not together. Your suits and ties may be my leather, but Grim Reaper, he knows no difference. We'll serve the world. Drunk or racing Watson.
Yeah, these are just a tiny bit loud now. I'm talking by a couple of dB. Just comparing to the previous song. There we go. And I never did bump these up, so let's bump them up. Oh, this is why you've got to be careful, because I nearly bumped up the volume on a bit of the last song we were working on there. Oops.
The ties that bind us are easy to dispose. Statues we build erode.
That's a good point. Yeah, English lyrics, huh? Oh, this stuff's so much better for the voice. I actually feel like I can do stuff. It's not very descriptive of me. I can keep talking is more what I'm getting at. So there's a rap here, so this might need a whole new vocal line. So I'm just going to do that, delete the stuff, and add in the rap aggressive and rap whistle dot wave. Separate tracks, rap, a wiki wild wild west, and that's not even in the right song. That's how far away they were. Rap.
Life should be fun, and I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come.
There, I'm gonna guess.
Life should be fun, and I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come again, descend on these stories. No flowers or lashes, just hatred, no glories. Alone and
Right. There we go. So I've cut that in such a way that the da matches the right. So this rap, they've called it a rap whistle. In English, we would call that a whisper, but that's fine.
should be fun, and I'd like to deliver a
So the first thing I'm going to do is use micro shift on there to really take it out of the mono image to really kind of spread that around. And I'm going to copy the SSL console here and really take the low end out of it because I can hear a lot of bop, 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 bop going on.
Should be fun, and I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my lips shiver. But then the clouds come again, descend on these stories. No flowers or leisures, just hatred, no glories. Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain, a soul in captivity. And just when you think, oh Lord, I cannot.
And I can hear a kind of a low mid stuffiness on here, so I'm just going to take some of that out.
And I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come again, descend on these stories. No flowers or lashes, just hatred, no glories. Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain, a soul in captivity. And just when you think, oh Lord, I cannot sink deeper, we stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper.
Cool. Right, so that's that one. So let's look at
Life should be
this.
fun, and I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come again, descend on these stories. No flowers or lashes, just hatred, no glories.
Right, so this one, I'm going to really drive it quite hard because that's something that you commonly do on rap. I'm going to take the SSL out, really drive this FG stress, take the air off it.
Life should be fun, and I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come again, descend on these stories. No flowers or lashes, just hatred, no glories. Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain.
So that's already taken the mids out, so I'll put that back. Definitely need to take the low end out.
Or lashes, just hatred, no glories. Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain, a soul in captivity. And just when you think, oh Lord, I cannot see deeper, we stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper. We stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper. We stand mesmerized. We stand mesmerized. We stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper.
There we go. So the de-esser was being a bit aggressive on there, making it sound like it had a lisp.
When you think, oh Lord, I cannot see deeper, we stand mesmerized and welcome the see deeper. We stand mesmerized and welcome see deeper. We stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper. We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties may beat my leg. Life should be fun, and I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come.
Was there a rough mix in here? I've still got the backing vocals to put in here as well. That's the drum midis. No, I don't have a reference for this one. That's fine. I think that's right.
Life should be fun, and I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come again, descend on these stories. No flowers or lashes, just hatred, no glories. Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain, a soul in captivity. And just when you think, oh Lord, I cannot see deeper, we stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper. We all go down, just not together. We all go down.
I'm sure that snare's moved. So I'm just going to make that assumption there because that seems a bit weird otherwise.
Down, just not together. Your suits and ties may beat my leather.
Cool. When the guitars come up on this one, it's going to be kind of a a weird mashup of My Chemical Romance and rap. This is going to be interesting. So, what else have I got that needs to go in? Vocals are all in. Guitar lead is all in. The chipmunk vocals and then the backing vocals. Chippy McMunk. Right, looks like these all sit under the chorus. Might need to take Snap off to line these up.
We all go down, 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 just not together. Your suits and ties may be my leather, but Grim Reaper, he knows no difference. Filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain, a soul in captivity. And just when you think, oh Lord, I cannot see deeper, we stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper. We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties may be my leather, but Grim Reaper, he knows no difference. We'll serve the worms, happy and different.
Right, I think I'm off with the timing there ever so slightly, so I'm just going to bump these. There we go.
We all go down, just not together. Your suits and
Well, that's the thing about mixing, is it's not about what we like necessarily, it's getting the job done. Also, there are more layers to go in. It may make more sense when the other layers are there. I always try and reserve judgment until everything's in terms of placement of things.
down, just not together. Your suits and ties may be my leather.
Timings are just a little bit wonky.
Your suits and ties may be my leather, but Grim Reaper, he knows no difference.
It's funny, I can see where that's been recorded too loud and has clipped and has been taken down before the export. Ain't nothing no 32-bit float's gonna do about that. That looks like it's actually less volume than the previous song, but let's bring these backings in now. Right, it looks like this is many stack.
Happy and different.
Right, so when I get the timing right, this should.
Indifference, happy and different. Happy and difference. We all go down, just not together. We all go down. We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties.
Thank you. Hey. One second. Free refill. Thank you. Hey, got coffee now. Hey. Yeah, no, now that I've got all the elements in, there is just a single whoa underneath the wrap. And because of that, I think I agree. It doesn't have anything supporting it. Yeah. Right. So let's just clean these up a little. think might need to be a little tuning action just at the end there, because the vocals are the only thing, which means it's really going to catch your ear. So let's listen to this from the start, see what we get. There's supposed to be something else at the start here. Right. The bass question mark? What's that mean, Marty? Oh, there's also guitars here that have been. There we go. Oh, they never got reamped. Oops. How daft of me. Right, looks like I've got a little bit of reamping to do then, ladies and gentlemen. In which case, I need to turn on my Road King. I thought it felt like something was missing there. So, yeah, whoops, my bad. Yeah, guitars are slightly missing. So, I'm going to get the Road King warmed up and plug the actual output from the Road King in. There we go. And I'm going to switch the Road King to channel 1, I think. Because channel 1 is the clean channel. I also need to plug a cable into the front of the Road King. And plug that into the real box. Get this all aligned. So I'm just going to turn off the master processing while I do this. Don't need any of that. Don't need any of that. Don't need any of them either. And I'm just going to mute one of these for now. And send out to line 3. Not line 6. Didn't. Out. Looks like I've got channel 1 set up to be just a 50 watt output. Yeah, no, the bass was there, but there was something missing. So let's rename this cap to X. I think it's input 4 is the captor. Oh, yes. Just switch that to low sensitivity input. And bring up the torpedo remote. Connect the torpedo remote to your computer. Oh, right, yes. Damn. Can I fit the eye lock? There is the next question, because I've got the USB for the torpedo remote not plugged in, because I didn't think I'd need it. How short-sighted of me. Got one spare USB port if I push really hard. There we go. Because the USB capture card that I'm using is it's a chunky little demon. Now, let's listen to this without the gate. In fact, no, let's load up a whole new preset and put a cabinet on this that would benefit copper open back. Let's try that. No, it's not very loud. I'm getting there, I think. Oh, binaural is weird. I can hear that in both ears. Okay, so let's whack this up. Looks like it's at -12. Right, I think I want it cleaner than that. I think I'm on the 50 watt mode and I want the 100 watt mode of 6L6s. So let's see if I can get round the back. Again, if I'd known I was going to be doing this, I would have made it a little more easy on myself. There we go. Click, 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 click. 100 watts of 6L6. This should sound a lot more kind of clean, hopefully. Yeah, sounding good. I don't know about you guys, but I'm liking that that reverb that comes actually from this, and not so much. In fact, I'm just going to kill the reverb for a second, see if any's coming from the. Yeah, there's no reverb at all right now on the Road King. I'm just going to check the front panel, make sure all my settings are right. Right, there is a tweed mode I'm going to try, which has a little more hair on it. Yeah, there we go. That's in tweed mode now. So, yeah, that's nice. Just make sure it's coming in a little loud. Ah, there we go. I'm doing that off screen. I'm just scooping some lows out here. I'm going to turn that reverb back on because I like it. Although I have to be very aware that that is going to be permanently baked in. So let's try this in context. And I know I have to do this twice, but... Right, that's what was missing. So that's the hook, essentially. So, yeah, Captor X from line 4. Interestingly, there's no gate on anywhere right now, and it's just not hissing because it's on the clean channel. That's how good the reamp box is that I'm using. The angry reamp from Signal Art Electronics. So yeah, let's pan these left and right and hear this in context as we go. Three, four. Lovely. And that is the end of the Road King for the day. But I'm glad I've still got it there, because that was a close call. Now, where did my sound go? What did I do? Did that grounding blip knock out my headphone output? Because you guys can see that. That's weird. So for David, am I reamping the other guitars as well? The other guitars have all already been reamped. That was Sunday's stream last week. So everything got done, but it seems like I missed this one. Everything else has already either run through the Marshall JCM 800 or through the Mesa Road King. So yeah, it seems like because these tracks were minimized with this button just behind Desert Bus here. So this tiny little button here, you can minimize tracks down. And so I flew right past it and missed it. Which is user error rather than Reaper's fault. So I can't hear a damn thing. I'm just going to unplug and plug in the interface. Highly professional. There we go. Right, I can see it, but I can't hear it. There we go. Right, so out of these 3 songs, I'm only using these clean channels for this one, so I can make some rather extreme EQ moves, and I will. What have I got going on here? Right, I'm just going to get rid of this. And that. And just move these round, so I've just got the SSL console doing all my dirty lifting work. And solo it while I do this. There we go. Hello, Bommel. How you doing? Right, so there we go. That's more like it. That's a very heavily EQ'd and compressed clean channel now, but... There we go, just going to bring it down a little just because when it comes in... Right, so up to this point it was all sounding good, and then that jig 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 just wasn't there. So this is where the automation phase comes in. So that jig 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 jig. Right, so that's all a lead section. So that should be a little louder for that. Bar, bar. And then significantly louder for this. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, that's really funny. All I got in chat was tings. So I got, yes, tings. Greetings. Yes, indeed. So, good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody. Top left, if you're wondering, that is a live rebroadcast of Desert Bus for Hope, the charity stream that is on right now on twitch.tv. They are collecting money for children's hospital charities and are very cool people. So that's why I've got that going on there. So it's bringing awareness to it and meaning I can see it out the corner of my eye whilst I do this. Right, let's just get a bit more. So just automate that up by a couple of dB. Maybe not so much. Right, so let's listen to this song all the way up to the verse. Hopefully the automation on the guitars now, and there's a lot of it, is enough to make everything interesting. Okay, so the martial rhythm on that section is a bit loud. Doesn't need to be quite so much. Vote Trump, please. First of all, block. Second of all, the election already happened. Cool, sounds good up to that point. So let's just listen to these rhythm guitars as they come in. Yes, this is the point where this guitar drops out entirely. So I will clean the edits just so I can actually see that happening. I can see the chat coming in fairly quick, but what's happening is the chat's coming into YouTube fairly quick. Then it's taking a while to aggregate through to Restream. Then it's having to go on my OBS feed. Then it's having to go through YouTube again. So yeah, the chat on screen is always a good minute behind. Yeah. Okay, so this octave line guitar needs a push. And then how much by? Let's go 2 dB, just see if that's enough. 4 dB, really give it a push. It's really starting to sound a bit like I'm Not Okay by My Chemical Romance with that bit. 'Joe, did I learn German last night? I don't know. How much did you drink? Stranger things have happened. Right, so I'm going to try just pushing both of the guitars up by a couple of dB on the chorus, just to give it that big anthemic chorus feel. Because the guitar, the Marshall drops by 4 dB because it was pushed by 4. So I'm going to bring it back down by 2. You know, I'm halfway point, see if that does what I'm after.
Sarcastic, but it looks like if I must, we all go down, 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 just not together. Your suits and ties may be my leather, but Grim Reaper, he knows no difference. We'll serve the words, happy indifference, happy indifference. What you achieve will be buried.
Right, so that's the scrapey one. So that can really get pushed there for the scrapey scrape to stand out.
What you achieve in oblivion, whether you're a smith.
And what's this? Okay, so this starts off as silence. That's fine.
You're a smith. What you achieve will be buried in oblivion. What you achieve will be buried in oblivion. Whether you're a smith, a clerk, a drunk, or raise a kingdom, follow the timeline and it all will be forgotten as we lay in oblivion. Whether you're a smith, a clerk, a drunk, or raise a kingdom, follow the timeline and it all will be forgotten as we lay rotten. We all go down.
Okay, so this needs pushing up here. What was that? Plus 2.2. Yeah. So I don't want to push this little feature too loud. Because it doesn't need to take over the mix. But then for that ba-da, I'm going to repeat the big push there because that's what I did on the first verse. And that'll make then sonic sense.
Buried in oblivion. Whether you're a smith, a clerk, a drunk, or raise a kingdom, follow the timeline and it all will be forgotten as we lay here peaceful.
Timing, everybody. Timing. Sounds like a rabble. This suddenly will feel much more powerful if everybody's in time with each other. There we go.
Down, 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 just not together. Your suits and ties may bleed my leather, but Grim or Reaper, he knows no difference. Quiet and rocker, we all go down.
Right, so this was up at 0. Whoop. Slidey mouse.
Quiet and rocker, we all go down, 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 just not together. Your suits and ties may bleed my leather, but Grim or Reaper, he knows no difference. We'll circle once, happy indifference, happy indifference.
Right, okay, so this guitar really kicks it up a notch here and becomes the lead for this section. Right, so there is where I need it to not be the lead anymore. So I've muted that one for a minute while I get the level right of this one. There we go. Now that looks offensively loud, but it is, for that section, a lead instrument. And so let's see what level this needs to be at. Right, so for there, it actually needs to go down a bit. And from there, it needs a real push. Right, so I've pushed it, but I actually need to automate a slope back downward there, because from +2, that's too big a slope. Because it's starting to get in the way so that it's too loud by the time, because everything else is dropping out around it, it needs to come down a little as well. That's too much of a dip, but we'll get there. Even 3 dB might do it.
Life should be fun, and I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come again, descend on these stories. No flower. Life should be fun, and I'd like to deliver a message of joy so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come again, descend on these stories. No flowers or ashes, just hatred, no glories. Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony. Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain, a soul in captivity. And just when you think, oh Lord, I cannot see deeper, we stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper.
Yeah, that whoa is getting muted because that doesn't fit.
Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain, a soul in captivity. And just when you think, oh Lord, I cannot see deeper, we stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper. We stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper. We stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper.
I can hear an edit.
And welcome the...
I can hear so that has to go before it catches anybody else's ear.
We stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper. We stand mesmerized and welcome... We stand mesmerized and... We stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper. We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties make me my leather. But grim or reaper cannot see deeper. We stand. We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties make me my leather.
There we go. So I'm really pushing this stab just because.
We'll go down, just not together. Your suits and ties make me my leather. But grim or reaper, he knows no difference. We'll go down, just not together. Your suits and ties make me my leather. But grim or reaper, he knows no difference. We'll serve the worms, happy indifference. We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties may bleed my leather, but grim or reaper, he knows no difference. We'll serve the worms, happy indifference, happy indifference. We'll serve happy indifference, happy indifference. Happy indifference, happy indifference. Happy indifference. Happy indifference. Happy indifference.
Okay. So these need a bit of tuning. Let's see if I can do it with the inbuilt itemized version of the retune.
Happy indifference. Happy indifference.
Right, so we're in C major. Because that last note was a G and that was the fifth, which tells me that's C, and I can hear that it's a major.
Happy indifference. Happy indifference.
And let's just see if I open that up. Nice little shortcut is Shift and E will open up an effects window for a specific item. So you can, if you really, really, really want to, actually have effects on specific parts of an audio file, which is usually not the way you do it, but in some rare cases.
Happy indifference.
There we go. Winner, James Turner.
Happy indifference.
Okay. Seems that was a little bit sharp to begin with. So let's start by bringing the whole thing down by half a semitone and see if that helps.
Happy and different.
That P in should have been there.
Happy and different.
And this one.
Happy and different. Happy and different. Happy and different. Different. Happy and different.
So that's a little sharp. This is what I used to do before Melodyne. Anyway, this is the manual way of doing it.
Happy and different.
Let's do that.
Happy and different. Happy and different.
Happy and different. Happy and different. Happy and different.
Bump that up by an entire semitone.
Happy and different. Difference. Happy and different.
There we go. So let's just, I might do a few automation points on the cymbals on this track to give them a bit of a pop, but we'll go from the top and see how we do. Yeah, anything that you put on an item is before any insert effects on a channel. So yeah, it's exactly the same philosophy here. Right, so at this point, it sounds like I just need to put a bit more of a shine on the cymbals. And stop it there. There we go. So lift that up by a couple of dB, see what difference that makes. From here.
message of joy is so great it makes my limbs shiver. But then the clouds come again, descend on these stories. No flowers or lashes, just hatred, no glories. Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain, a soul in captivity. Alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain. Reaper. In a box, alone in a box, filled with acid and agony, blackness and pain, a soul in captivity. And just when you think, oh Lord, I cannot see deeper, we stand mesmerized and welcome the Reaper.
And a gap.
We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties may beat my leather, but Grim or Reaper, he knows no difference. We'll serve the ones happy indifference. We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties may bleed my leather, but Grim or Reaper, he knows no difference. We'll serve the world happy indifference, happy indifference.
Right, almost there, except that I'm noticing on this track I'm starting to lose the drums. What I seem to have done subconsciously is pushed everything louder and louder and louder and left the drums behind. So rather than make the drums louder, I'm going to dip the vocals down by 2 dB. The backing vocals I'm going to dip down by 2 dB. Huh. Didn't notice that they were getting louder over the whole thing anyway, but yeah, 2 dB down for you. Lead to guitar. Same, and just repeat until... There we go. Don't want to move the timing on this. If it's moved by a tiny, tiny, tiny amount, I can live with that as long as it's like a couple of samples. But generally, I just want to bring everything down. So everything sounds good now. It's just competing, which means I can't hear the top on the drums and I can't hear the snap. So what I want to do for each particular song is as described. Just usually when I'm not using automation, I do this with the faders. And yes, I know there are ways of doing this with VCAs and that kind of thing, but I'm just going to keep it simple and use what I already have. And just 2 points. So there we go. Not including that song. And also for Michael in chat, I'm not tired. I just look like it. I have a child. I always look like this. May I ask a question? Well, you're going to, so go on. Everybody else is asking questions. That's what we're here for, so... Depends if it's relevant to what we're doing. Let's try this now. That's better. just felt a bit quiet there. Sounds much better with everything down.
And welcome the Reaper. We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties may bleed my leather, but Grim Reaper, he knows no difference. We'll serve the worms, happy indifference. We all go down, just not together. Your suits and ties may bleed my leather, but Grim Reaper, he knows no difference. We'll serve the worms, happy indifference, happy indifference.
And a bit of a reverb tail, and I think that one will do. Okay, so I'm going to get this one exported too, whilst I answer this question. So it's a good question. Here we go. I'm looking into singing for a cover song. I've no experience in mixing, mastering, producing my own backing track. Is there any copyright-free sources to use that will not cause copyright issues? That's a no, because that's not how copyright works. Copyright is split into two parts. Firstly, there's the songwriter's side of the copyright. Then there's the person who's made the music side of the copyright, and both exist. If someone's willing to give you a copy of a backing track royalty-free, which can exist, but is rare, then you can use that, but you're not really going to find it. But even then, you would be paying copyright royalties on the cover song because you've performed somebody else's song, and it doesn't matter who's made the backing track. They don't have the authority to say that it's copyright free. That's not how it works. You've got to think of it as two separate things, and yeah. So, sorry to disappoint, but yeah, that's kind of the thing. Yes, efficiency in Reaper is a thing I've built up over a long time, but I mean, I can also work in Cubase or Pro Tools, but I kind of end up at about 70% efficiency-ish, maybe a little less depending on how familiar or how long it's been. Last week I did a little bit of mixing with John Brown from Monuments, not for anything big, it was just for a YouTube video, and he uses Cubase, and I used to use Cubase all the time back in the early to mid 2000s, and it's funny how quickly my hands went to the keyboard to the right shortcuts. Like, Cubase is a bit weird. Zooming in and out is on G and H, not plus and minus. The windows that you need for the mix and everything are on F3 and F4. So I just remember those and come back to them very quickly. Mixing concepts don't change from one DAW to the next. It's just how do you get that sound to the next place? And then it's just remembering where to find your automation lanes and all the things, because they're all there in Cubase, they're all there in Pro Tools, they're all there in Logic. They're not always in the most efficient place, which is where Reaper can become more efficient for me, but they are there. So yeah, it's just that Reaper is my kind of weapon of choice because of all the nice little shortcuts and things like project tabs. And if I want to record on all these tracks all at once, I hold down record on one and drag it across, and boom, they're all live. Little things like that. And you can say, oh, well, that's also in this DAW. Yeah, probably, but it's not in all of them. And, you know, little bits have been cherry picked. Anyway, I know that there's quite a few people watching at this point, but I think I'm going to call the stream there because that's 2 out of the 3 songs mixed and my head is starting to ache. And I am technically on vacation. So I'm doing this in my vacation time. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow night, I will finish off the last song. And in the meantime, I'll send these to the band, to Mischwald, to have a listen to. And I'm probably going to have a listen on my phone and on the iPad just to check it, because I am listening on the VSX system and it's really, really good at allowing things to translate, but I just want to be sure. And so, yes, I'm going to go and disappear. But in the meantime, hit the like button. If you've not already subscribed to the channel, please do. And do the things with the stuff. And yes, if you didn't catch the start of the stream, I spent this morning, after looking after the child, of course, getting a dirty, full, thick bass sound, not for Mischwald, for myself, using a whole rack of pedals that I've got under the desk here. So just go back to the stream and check out that little bit and you'll see me making some great sounds. That's the kind of thing I'm doing with my vacation. So I will see you all tomorrow night. And in the meantime, stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, all that good stuff. I'll see you later. Goodbye, everybody.
Hey everyone, that might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server, link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Hot Pole Studios. See you there.